LA. Welcome to the chat room. Today, in a very special segment of the chat room, we'll speak to Ana del Rio, a victim of local gun violence, and Councilman Nick Pacheco. So pull the family together and log on with us right here in the chat room.
Sunday on Santana Live, are Hispanic Americans excluded from mainstream media? Find out more when Javier Santana discusses this controversial topic with Alex Nogales, director of the National Hispanic Media Coalition. Tonight on Santana Live.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Los invitamos a disfrutar como cada fin de
Hola, soy Cristina y quiero darte un mensaje de mujer a mujer. En pantalla y haz una cita para hacerte esa prueba.
A message from the National Education Association.
Welcome back. My name is Solis Marich. I'm your host right here in the chat room. We're here today with Ana del Rio and Councilman Nick Pacheco. Thank you two for being here with us this evening. Ana, your family has been deeply affected by gun violence. Could you tell us what happened? You live here in Los Angeles. What part of LA do you live in?
I live in Eagle Rock. My daughter, Teresa Del Rio, age 20, had gone down to the Rampart area of Los Angeles to pick up two boys. Her and her girlfriend had given a ride home to these two friends of hers. And as she was pulling out of the part of an apartment building, this suspect came out of the bushes on foot and started firing on her car, hitting her. As her car rolled down the street, he chased her car and continued to fire upon it. Bullets entered, 7-8 bullets entered her car, and some of them landed in some of the residents' home. And she basically started bleeding to death. Her friends took her to the hospital, and she was in surgery for 5.5 hours, received 14 pints of blood. They tried to save her life, and she basically bled to death.
Ana, this was a situation, I think what happens many times when we hear about these drive-by shootings or these shootings that are happening over and over again in our neighborhoods, we always think that it's gang members killing gang members, but this was a completely innocent situation.
Yeah, she was basically an innocent victim of this suspect, who is now a defendant, who had killed two others 60 months prior to Teresa's murder. He was out on the streets for 60 months committing violent acts. He basically was able to elude the LAPD, and basically was able to have enough time to kill my daughter.
You have had an extraordinary response to this. You have helped organize community members against gun violence. You have worked with people like Councilman Pacheco to try to raise awareness on this issue. Why such a strong response?
When a mother has to go to her daughter's car after being shot up by a high-powered gun and seeing the bullet holes in her car, and then seeing her blood on the seat of her car, the blood splattered in the front seat where she lied, and then seeing her in her coffin, I was outraged. I was outraged that she could have been a victim of this predator, someone who had killed twice before. And I promised Teresa, as she laid in her coffin, that I was going to get her justice. She was our only child. She was a student at Glendale Community College. She had aspirations, and this guy took it all away from us and from her.
Councilman, I mean, the statistics are ratcheting up in our neighborhoods. Right. There's all kinds of statistics. There's county statistics. There's city statistics. Bottom line is that each statistic represents a family like real family.
Right.
What can be done?
Well, initially, the first thing that I wanted to recognize is Ana for her hard work in bringing this to the public and bringing this to my sort of attention in terms of her personal case. Every day in office that we're dealing with violence, we always have issues and situations, gun shootings, gun deaths in the community. Mainly what can be done is we have to have a balanced attack here. We have to have the police department out there, and we have to have the community participating and cooperating with the police department. And that really has to be balanced. It's not more one or the other. It is important that the community alert the police departments to what they see, what activities are going on. We're working closer with the senior lead officers to make sure that they're anonymous. We want to try to ensure the community that their cooperation is not going to end up in any sort of retaliation. But that's part of it. And the police department has to go out there and aggressively go undercover and do sting operations and deal with the biggest cause of problems, which is the sale of narcotics in our communities. Many of our gun violences situations are based on people either being confused for the wrong person or being targeted because of some territorial or drug-related business type situation in the sale of narcotics. So we need to get the police department and the community working together, and we're doing that.
As you know, Councilman, this has become such a backdrop, and the statistics, excuse me, have climbed slowly.
Right.
Most people aren't even, when people hear about they always think it's gang member against gang member. It's almost like there's an attitude of, that's not going to affect my family as long as my family is not involved in those activities. But it's not true. You have started on a public awareness campaign that actually starts tomorrow morning. Right. We actually have a billboard that you, along with Vista Media, a local billboard company who has donated the space for it, and Women Against Gun Violence, Ana, and a number of other people pulling together for it. If we could show the billboard, these are going to go up all over the city tomorrow. Right. And this is kind of your shot across the bow.
Well, from my standpoint, Ana has worked very hard to think of creative ways of bringing attention to the issue and really refocusing everyone's energy to gun violence because of the upswing also recently. Ana had a couple of ideas, and we came up with this one as one that we could probably do because of our work with Vista Media. We thought that this is something that they would be very supportive of. They came through. They're going to give us 2 months of billboard space. We think the message is the right message in terms of beginning the dialogue and debate. And it really comes down to Ana being persistent and being creative and looking for solutions. And I simply, my role was, in order to make this happen, I had to pay for the printing of the signs. Vista's donating the space. Ana and Women Against Gun Violence have created the message and have worked to really deliver a powerful message for our community.
These are very, very powerful billboards, Ana. What other activities, if any, do you all have planned for the next few months?
Well, I have attached myself to many organizations. They are friends of mine. I really can't really be a really active member in all these organizations that have come out. And it's really sad that we have to have these types of gun violence or promoting the end of gun violence organizations. they started like Women Against Gun Violence in 1994. At that time, I wasn't even aware. I had no fear for my daughter being out in the street. I didn't even know that this suspect, this now defendant, was out there, and the community wasn't alerted to him. He was committing violent acts. Our next project is Parents of Murdered Children, where Teresa is going to be honored with other murder victims in Brea, California. This will be in April, where names of all murder victims will be put on a black granite, and where they will be remembered forever. And it's so sad to see all the names